Hello there, this is people. In this video, I'm gonna be presenting the new version of SWAPR, which is the plug-and-play hybrid version. And this is pretty much the culmination of a month of work, almost. It includes several improvements over the previous versions. It now works in multiplayer. It supports clients on the Kuznetsov and the Vincent, and also on several ships on both coalitions. And for those of you who still don't know what SWAPR is, this is a script that I created in order to replace any chosen clients by AI, or initially those were static replacements. They would be replaced by statics. But then as I kept developing the script, I realized that it was better to replace them by uncontrolled AI units, and that's what I ended up doing, right? So this current version automatically generates AI uncontrolled AI replacements for any number of clients that you choose. And it also handles spawning and removal as players enter and leave the slots. So as you can see, I've created this demonstration mission, and it has a little bit of everything. It has blue clients and red clients, some of them spawning on air bases. Some of them are spawning on FARPs, some of them are spawning on either the Kuznetsov or the Vincent, or in frigates or cruisers or destroyers. And then we have a couple of helicopters on the top, at the top of the Mount Elbrus here. All right, so imagine that this is your mission. This is a mission that you have or that you've downloaded, and you want to include SWAPR in order to automatically generate replacements and handle their spawning and removal. So the first thing that you need to do is check the unit names. You need to, for example, decide which clients you want replaced. And for any client that you want replaced, you simply focus on the pilot name of that client. And you need to use either a prefix or a suffix that's going to be common to all the clients in the mission. Actually, you can use several different suffixes and prefixes. This version of SWAPR allows you to use different suffixes and prefixes. It doesn't have to be only one, right? You can choose several. For instance, in this mission, I'm using at least 4 or 5 different suffixes. In this case, this client is using underscore client, and if we keep going, you can see that there are others. The others are using underscore plane, others are using underscore client, and then we have more stuff, different underscore hilo, other different underscore test. Different suffixes, right? Underscore plane as well, somewhere there. Only 2 clients though, well, it doesn't matter. So that's what you do. You simply choose either a suffix or a prefix, and you use that. So once you have that, you need to pay attention to a few other things. For example, if you want to use SWAPR with FARP-based clients, like this, we have here 4 groups of helicopters, a single unit in each of those groups, and we need to spawn them from FARPs, right? So in order to avoid weird stuff happening, right, we set them to take off from ground in this case. All right, I mean, I guess that SWAPR would still work if you set them to take off from ramp and select a parking spot, or take off from parking hot. Maybe it would still work, but perhaps the helicopter would lose its bearing, or perhaps helicopters would start spawning on top of each other. I think that I solved this particular issue, but I'm not sure about it. So the safest thing that you can do is just set them to take off from ground. That's the best you can do. Take off from ground and then manually place them over the FARP. All right, so that's one thing to keep in mind with SWAPR. FARP-based clients need to be set to take off from ground. I've done this as well for the red FARP here, and also we have a couple more FARPs on MyCop as well here. I've done it as well. But the difference here is that these are all members of the same group. Okay, this is another thing that I've included in this new version of SWAPR. Now it supports multiple client groups. In this group we have four clients, right? They are all set to take off from ground, but these are different. Now don't hide them on map. So 1, 2, 3, 4. They are all on different spots because I've placed them manually. Okay, I placed them like this. Okay, so we just do this. All right, and then there's another thing to keep in mind, which concerns clients spawning from the Vinson. The Vinson is an old, as you know, is an old carrier, and it doesn't support all the ramp carrier ops that the Stennis does. So if you set clients like the Harrier or the Hornet or the Tomcat hasn't actually, I will say something about the Tomcat later, but it basically doesn't work well on the Vincent, so I wouldn't use it because it appears that it doesn't work well with the Vincent's catapult. Okay, so as I was saying, if you, for example, here we have a squadron of 3 carriers, and then we have a control Huey here. So if you set them to take off from ramp, they will not spawn because I don't know why the option is even available here, because the Vincent doesn't support it. You need to set them. Any clients that you want to be spawned from the Vincent need to be set to take off from runway. All right, that's the condition here. That's it. Also, yeah, try to make sure that they are all using different tail numbers, different call signs, and they are placed on different parking numbers. For example, 1 is on 1, unit 2, in this case is on 3 because DCS automatically switches things around for some reason, and number 3 is on parking 2, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Okay, so just keep this in mind. If you're operating from the Vincent, set the clients on takeoff from runway. Alright, so as a general rule, I recommend that you set any ship-based clients to take off from ramp. For instance, we have here a Huey based on the Moskva cruiser, and this guy is set to take off from ramp. I mean, it would still work if you set it to take off from parking hot or take off from runway, I guess. But since we want, in this case, the replacements, we want them to stay still and don't move, don't start their propeller, for instance. Just set them to take off from ramp. So things should be consistent that way. And just make sure that all the different clients that you have on carrier decks, they are using different tail numbers, different call signs, and they are using different parking spots, for instance. In this case, on the Kuznetsov, you can set clients to either take off from ramp or take off from runway as well. But again, choose take off from ramp. Yeah, sometimes this is gonna happen as well. Some clients will lose position. Number 3 is on 3. Okay. So yeah, set them to take off from ramp, because this way the replacements won't be, in this case, if they are helicopters, it's noticeable because they will be spinning their propeller. But if you set them to take off from ramp, they won't. So it's things will be kind of consistent that way. Alright, so now that we have checked that all the clients are using a common prefix, in this case a common suffix, and we have also made sure that The far-based clients are set to take off from ground, and the Vincent clients are set to take off from runway, and the rest is set up to take off from ramp on ships and other carriers like the Kuznetsov. Now it's time to set up the SWAPR itself. Alright people, here we have the new script for SWAPR Plug-and-Play Hybrid 1.2, and this is the config section. And as you can see, we have quite a few settings here that we must introduce in order for SWAPR to work. Let's go over them one by one. First we have SWAPR underscore prefixes, which is the same prefix table that we had in previous versions of SWAPR. And it basically contains, as we discussed earlier in the video, all the prefixes or suffixes, the client prefixes or suffixes that you're using in your mission. So this is a way of telling SWAPR which clients you want to target. For instance, in this demo mission, we had some clients that use this suffix underscore carrier, others were using underscore client, others underscore hello, underscore plane, underscore test. Okay, so this is basically a way of telling SWAPR which clients to target. Also, remember that all the values in this table must be provided in a string format, which means they must be surrounded by either double quotes, like this is a prefix or suffix, and then a comma separated by commas, right? So we could give this as a prefix or suffix, or we could also use a single quotes, also work. These are also strings in Lua, okay? So yeah, you just introduce between quotes and separated by commas, right? All right, so next we have a game mode, which is basically what it sounds like. It's you just need to specify the game mode, either multiplayer or single player. And for instance, if you want to run this in any kind of multiplayer environment, like, I don't know, dedicated server or you hosting the mission, then you must set this to MP, and this is a string as well, okay? This must be a string value. So the accepted values are capital letters always, so it's either MP, between quotes, remember, either single or double quotes because it must be a string. So SP for single player and MP for multiplayer, okay? That's it. Alright, so next up we have the star feature in this new release, which is slot block. And this was first suggested by Funky Frankie. And at the time I thought it was a great idea, but I didn't know how to implement it. But in the end, I've managed to make it work with SWAPR. And big thanks to all the people that helped me along the way. Thanks to Kiribop, thanks to Wingthor, to Pikes, thanks to Rudel, Eduardo for the testing, and all the people that helped me pull this off, because now we have a really nice feature in SWAPR. So what this does, it basically blocks any client slots in multiplayer, because this is only meant to be used in multiplayer. It doesn't work in single player, okay? So it will block any client slots whose replacements have been destroyed, either by friendlies or enemies. It doesn't matter. If they are destroyed, the slot gets blocked. Okay, as long as you have a slot block set to true. Obviously, you can disable it so nothing happens. And if you want to see it in action, you should see now a video recommendation, so you can go watch that. That's a video that I made to demonstrating this feature. It's quite nice, and I think it really adds immersion and excitement to multiplayer missions. So I would recommend, guys, that you use it. It's quite nice. Alright, so yeah, how do you set it up? So it's not a string value, it's a Boolean value, so it basically, it's lowercase always in this case, and you can set it to either true, like this, it's enabled, or false, okay? Then false means it's disabled. So yeah, let's set it to true. And you can read here, I provided a comment where you can see how it works. And yes, as I said, only works in multiplayer. So you must set the game mode to multiplayer, and you must use the hook, the server hook, as well. All right. So next up we have replacement type, and this is where we set the kind of replacements that we want. This is a string value, so it only accepts either static, written with a capital S, or AI, okay, in caps, AI or static. Now, if we set it to AI, SWAPR will generate AI replacements, as the name indicates, for all the targeted clients, right? If we set this to static instead, SWAPR will try to generate statics in all the situations where statics can be spawned without issues. And this requires further explanation because it's not as straightforward as it seems. DCS has quite a lot of problems with static spawning, okay? For instance, if you want to spawn statics on sheltered parking spots, the statics will spawn on top of the shelters instead of in them, right? That's a problem. Another problem, at least in multiplayer, if you want to spawn statics on a FARP, they appear half buried inside the FARP, right? At least the replacements, they spawn half buried for some reason. And there's also other problems related to this, and that's another problem. Right, and if you want to spawn replacements on ships, carriers, whatever, they don't spawn. At least via script, up until now, they've never spawned. At least not correctly. So yeah, as you can see, statics carry with them plenty of issues. So SWAPR, as it is now, SWAPR 1.2 will only spawn statics in all the situations in which it's pretty sure that statics won't cause problems. And this basically means statics will be generated only for those clients that are located on parking spots which are open on airbases. For instance, any parking spots on any airbase in Nevada map or the Persian Gulf map or Caucasus, any parking spots on Caucasus map that's not sheltered. So all those clients, as long as they are targeted in the SWAPR prefixes table, as long as they are referenced there, or the prefix or suffix is referenced there, they will receive static replacements. Okay, they just need to be on an open spot, and it needs to be a spot. Okay, and static replacements will also be generated for all those clients that are set to spawn on open terrain, far away from an airbase, and far away from FARPs. And they are set to take off from ground, for instance, right? So let's say that you have a helicopter or a carrier set somewhere remote on the map, and it's set to take off from ground. So those also will receive static replacements, right? But if you have clients on FARPs or on ships or inside sheltered parking spots, and you have these options that we'll discuss later enabled, then those will receive AI replacements, not statics. All right. Okay, so next up we have hidden AI replacements, and this is an easy one to explain. This basically will enable the option hidden. This typical option that you have in Mission Editor when you set up a group or a unit, and you can set it to hidden in order for it to be hidden on the map. So this is the equivalent in the script, okay? Incidentally, this will only work with AI replacements. It does not work for static replacements for some reason, okay? It can only be forced on AI replacements. So if you set this option to true, this is another boolean, so it needs to be set to either true, like this, lowercase, or false, also lowercase. Okay, if you set it to true like this, then all the generated AI replacements for targeted clients will be hidden on the map, so you won't see them. Okay, if you set it to false, then the AI replacements will be seen on the map. It's as easy as that, okay? And remember, this is a Boolean, so it's either false or true without quotes because it's not a string, so, and lowercase, all right? And you can see here in the comment what it does. Okay, so next up we have sheltered replacements. What this option does, like the name suggests, it generates replacements for any clients that are set on sheltered parking spots. This would be in the Caucasus map, because only the Caucasus map has airbases with sheltered parking spots, as far as I know. And remember, like I mentioned earlier when I was explaining the replacement type thing, this will only be AI replacements. This will not be statics, even if this is set to static, because like I said, statics spawn on top of the shelters instead of in them. So yeah, that's why. And it's a Boolean, so like the previous option here, it must be set to either true, lowercase, and without quotes, true to enable it, or false to disable it, okay? If you set it to false, none of the clients that you have inside parking spots will get replacements. Oh, by the way, this option, sheltered replacements, also comes in handy when you want to reduce the number of replacements that are being generated. For instance, if your mission is set on the Caucasus map, you can use this, you can set this to false, so that way any clients that you have inside sheltered parking spots that are being targeted by SWAPR, they won't get a replacement. So that way the performance hit won't be that hard, okay? Because keep in mind that it doesn't matter if you set this to static or AI, it doesn't matter. Any replacements, either static or AI, will have the same kind of performance impact, okay? FPS wise. So if you want to reduce the performance impact, you need to generate fewer replacements, and this might help you do it, right? And last but not least, we have ship replacements, and as the name indicates, this option is used to tell SWAPR whether we want any replacements generated for clients based on ships. It could be a carrier, destroyer, a frigate, a cruiser, compatible with SWAPR, of course. If we have clients on any of those and we don't really want replacements generated there, we don't want problems there, we can set this to false. This is another Boolean value, so it must be set to either true, like this, lowercase, or false to disable it. And if we set it this to false, no replacements will be generated for ship-based clients. Okay, so now that we have all the options set, this script, SWAPR PMP Hybrid 1.2, would be ready to go already. We don't need to touch anything else in the script, just the SWAPR config section. These are all the settings that you need to provide. The rest is automatic, okay, guys? And then if you do decide to run SWAPR in a multiplayer environment like this, you set the game mode to multiplayer. That's as is mentioned in the comment. If set to multiplayer, server hook is required. So there's a second script, and this script must be used in your dedicated server. Okay, when you are running any multiplayer mission, and this is the script right here. It also has a config section, as you can see, and it's simply the table, the SWAPR prefixes table. So you can just take it from here. Once you have it set up, you just copy this from here. It's as simple as that, and you paste it here, okay? You just paste it. And that's it. And the server hook would be ready to go as well. You don't have to modify anything else. Then this server hook must be placed, as you can read here, this script must be placed in your hard drive, where you keep your Windows username and all that stuff, the user files, username, save games. It's basically your save games DCS folder, right? Scripts, hooks, So yeah, we just take the script from here, we go there, I've already gone there. So as you can see, I have this this hook already pasted here. So we just open it to check that everything is okay. As you can see, there's the swapper prefixes table already set up, and that's all you need to provide. The rest is automatic. Okay, so as long as you keep this hook there, this should be save games DCS open beta. In this case, I'm running an open beta. Scripts hooks. This is the location, and remember, this must be inside your dedicated server. Okay, this must be the hooks folder inside your dedicated server. You just paste this, and this is just code for the server, so it knows when to remove replacements and when to block slots in case you have a slot block enabled. Okay, and then after this, you just load the script in Mission Editor, like we will see, and that's it, and you're ready to go. All right, guys, I'm back in DCS, and now we're going to load all the required scripts so SWAPR can run. The first thing we need to do is to load a compatible version of moose.lua. In this case, the required file is already included in the RAR file that you'll download from GitLab. I will talk about that later, but basically the file is already included. You just need to load this Moose developed August 2019.lua, which is a developed version of moose.lua, which is compatible with SWAPR. And then after that, we create a once trigger. We call it, I don't know, call it whatever you want. In this case, I've called it SWAPR Hybrid. And here we load the script that we just saved. In this case, it's called SWAPR PNP Hybrid. That would be the correct file. Okay, so we just make sure it's loaded. Hybrid. Okay. And that's it, guys. Remember, we set this in multiplayer, so the server hook is required. We just double check that the server hook, we go to the hooks folder. Remember, this is open beta. We go to scripts, we go to hooks, and SWAPR server hook must be there. We double check it. Okay, so yeah, the prefix table is included, and it's correct. It has the correct name. So everything should be ready to go in multiplayer. So we save the mission. Up to this point, what we've done is discuss multiplayer mode, which this kind of setup is only meant for servers. Okay, so if you want to run SWAPR on your server, just game mode to multiplayer, just everything that we've done, and then the server hook must be pasted here on saved games, open beta, scripts, hooks must be placed here. Okay, then your server would be ready to go with SWAPR, and all clients could connect and everything would run fine. But if you want to use SWAPR on a single player environment, that's also possible. You just need to come to the script and switch the game mode to SP. Okay, save the script and make sure that all the prefixes or suffixes are correct, and then just load this in your mission after you have loaded moose.lua, of course, because you remember this is a moose script. You need moose.lua first, and then you can run this script on single player here, and it should be ready to go. There's nothing else to be done here. Okay, and last but not least, I wanted to mention this new GitLab project that I've created for SWAPR. This is where I will be uploading all the future versions of SWAPR, as well as this one. So I will provide this link in the official thread on the Eagle Dynamics forums. And you just need to download this file, SWAPR PNP Hybrid 1.0 in this case. Just download it. Sorry, we just have it here. Yeah, extract it. And where is it? Here. Okay, nice. And as you can see, it contains all the required files. We have a compatible moose.lua here for the mission. We have the script, which is not set up. You must include all the prefixes or suffixes. Also, you must specify the game mode, either SP or MP. Okay. And we also have a server hook here, which again you need to fill up the SWAPR prefixes table with all the required or specific suffixes or prefixes. Then I've also included the demo mission here, the one that I've just demonstrated. And this one is already set up in multiplayer. Okay, so you need to, it also includes the hook, the SWAPR server hook. You need to place that on the hooks folder, remember. Saved games, open beta, scripts, hooks. You need to place it here. And it also includes a README file here, where I explain how to install this, and a couple of photos so you know where the edits must be done. Okay, in this case, this is for the main script. We need to, as I said, modify the table, modify the game mode, and this is for the server hook. Just include the table, the prefixes or suffixes in the table. And that's pretty much it, guys. All you need is inside there. And remember, this is where you'll find it. It's the GitLab project, SWAPR _ public. And this is the file that you need to download. This is the link. Okay. So guys, I hope that you enjoy SWAPR and report any issues that you have on the forum thread, and I'll try to fix them as soon as possible. And I hope that you enjoy the script, guys, and see you around.